Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the court of the Edijester, as you can see. Greenish. Right, we're going green today. We are going green on behalf of the lesbian greens. Sorry, it makes me laugh. It shouldn't, but it does. The lesbian green. It sounds like a particularly butch broccoli. Stop it. Stop it. It's serious. Right, so my apologies to the lesbian greens there, but it does make me laugh. Lesbian greens, what have you got? Really butch sprouts. Stop it. I'm stereotyping. It's naughty of me. This is important. The lesbian greens have got together and have written an open letter to the party executive. Now, you will be aware of the appalling behaviour of Sean Berry and Carla Denyer in Parliament after the puberty blocker permanence was engaged. They weren't happy. And they were defending continuing experimentation on children. Goodness knows why, but they weren't the only ones. There was more people also doing the same thing, as well as some lunatic defending first cousin marriage, which Starmer's taken off the table, which I find most peculiar, considering what I'm hearing from nurses and doctors. So I think this is important. I'm going to get off track. Subscribe. Do the usual. Buy me a coffee if you can do. Christmas is getting really close now, isn't it? So we've got this open letter. Let's take a look at what they've said, because I really feel for the people in the Greens. A number of warrior teachers come from the Green Party. Also, I've met with the Green Party at the conference last year. You know, these people give a damn about the bloody planet, and that's what they're mostly involved in. But they seem to pick up on everything else and go completely insane. I don't understand it. So this letter is well needed, and I think it's worth us going through it. So an open letter to Green Party Executive, which is known as GPEX, as you can see there in brackets. 2, Green Party Executive, the Green Party of England and Wales, Friday the 13th of December 2024. Dear GPEX, we are writing to express our deep concern regarding speeches made in Parliament on Wednesday by Sean Berry MP and Carla Denyer MP, defending the continued use of puberty-suppressing hormones in children and teenagers expressing gender dysphoria, commonly known as puberty blockers. We are troubled by Berry and Denyer's position given the well-documented health risks puberty blockers pose to children, the scientific evidence of their harmful effects on developing bodies, and the lack of evidence of safety in the long term cannot be dismissed. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. But yet so many are, aren't they? So many are dismissing it. It simply is not good enough. So-called puberty blockers target the pituitary gland and could have damaging effects on brain development, as well as bones. You know, brain development, bones. The simple fact of the matter is, it stops something natural from happening. Whereas that argument that I've been seeing, well, if cis kids can have it, why can't trans kids have it? Because you give it to a cis 5-year-old who's developing a beard, right? So in other words, puberty blockers given for precocious puberty block an unnatural process from occurring, whereas puberty blockers given for other reasons block a natural process from occurring. They're chalk and bloody cheese. There's no comparison. That infuriates me. There's no comparison. I don't know how people can see a comparison. Well, if cis kids can get it, why can't trans kids? There are no trans kids. And these 2 bloody MPs should be absolutely ejected. How do you eject an MP from the House? You remove the whip or, you know, put a rocket up their backside. How do you do it? Somebody tell me. So continuing about puberty blockers, they interrupt natural development processes and interfere with normal adolescent brain changes, crucial for social bonding, emotional regulation, and learning to think independently, i.e. they damage your brain. And what do these 2 MPs say? Well, we think it's a good idea if we go on experimenting on children and damaging their brains. Utterly disgraceful. Children prescribed puberty blockers are also exposed to physical risks, including abnormally low bone density, osteoporosis, which is not fully reversible after puberty blocker treatment has stopped. Whilst these drugs have been prescribed to children with precocious puberty, this is a short-term, typically 6-month, intervention for an entirely different condition and does not preclude any of the health risks associated with the drugs. This is very different use compared to use in gender dysphoria, which you know as well as I do that I don't even think that's a thing. I think it's it's a construct, where the blockers are proposed to be commenced at a prepubertal stage and continued for several years. So they're drawing the difference between the two. It doesn't change the fact that these things can be dangerous, but they're drawing a difference between why trans kids can't have it when cis kids can. These nutters. Known and well-documented side effects of puberty blockers are also include crying and irritability, restlessness, injection site reactions, or pain near the site, acne, rashes, headaches, and weight gain. In addition, the use of puberty blockers leads to poor development of genitalia, which is irreversible and could lead to lifelong problems for individuals. You'll remember Susie Green giggling about the size of her son's penis. Honest to goodness, you just think to yourself, this is literally good and evil sometimes. I don't know how else we characterize it. There is also emerging evidence of harm to cognition and brain development, loss of IQ, increased cardiovascular and diabetes risk, mood disorders, including increased risk of depression and suicide, infertility, sexual dysfunction, and problems with urinary function. And again, they've got here references available if desired in the letter so that they can get a response. There is no way to obtain informed consent with regard to these drugs because the long-term effects are unknown. So all use of these drugs is experimental at this point in time, hence the CAS recommendation to only allow them to be prescribed as part of a research trial, which I think shouldn't go ahead. Many of you think shouldn't go ahead, and we've already got movement on that particular fight. As elected representatives, Berry and Denyer have a duty to protect the most vulnerable members of our society. However, their advocacy appears to be primarily motivated by political expediency rather than genuine conviction. We recognise that both are pursuing the support of trans activists within GPU. This is a callous act of political manoeuvring, which we find deplorable. Well said. Well said, Lesbian Greens. We strongly urge you to understand the facts on this matter and recognise the damage Berry and Denyer are doing to society and to the party by advocating this position. We are deeply concerned because this issue disproportionately impacts young lesbians. We hope you will have the wisdom to support measures that protect all children from harm. We ask that the GPU immediately issue a statement in support of the CAS review and distance itself from Berry and Denyer's comments. Further, we ask that Berry and Denyer be advised to refrain from stirring division and hatred and to desist from politicising the health and well-being of vulnerable children and teenagers. Yours sincerely, Lesbian Greens. Go and have a read. Go and have a read. They've got a website. The link to the original tweet from them is also in the doobers for you to have a look at. The simple fact of the matter is these are people who give a damn, and they're trying to stop something happening in the Green Party, which is quite frankly disgusting, and that is a faction of the Green Party supporting the medical experimentation on children, most of whom will be gay or lesbian. In my main concern, as you know, is with gay men and gay boys. The concern here is for lesbians. Help them out. Go and follow them. Give it a tweet. Let's get it out there, right? The Greens need to clear up their act because they're starting to look more and more like they're nothing to do with being green at all and just a bunch of quacks. But you let me know what you think, as usual, and also perhaps pop along and thank Lesbian Greens for writing the letter, and let's see what happens with this. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.